So,
The monetary theory,
Oh, you mean
this
like
makes sense, but you gotta understand that the shape of the supply curve, okay? If you are on this edge of the supply curve where quantity is very low, we're not producing much, then all the factories are not being used, all the capital isn't being used, resources isn't being used, people are unemployed, desperate for a job. You have prices go up just a little bit, and then quantity increases a whole bunch, because people are desperate to get to work, right? But why does the supply curve start going up like this, asymptotically?
Oh.
Okay, because there reaches a point where what happens as we go over more and more? With this set of infrastructure, we can only produce so much. You can only ask so much of the factories, workers, and resources. So it gets to the point where you just can't get any more out of it. Does that make sense? So you get over here, and what starts happening is it takes a whole lot of price increase for just a little bit of growth. And then here, an incredible amount of price increase for just a really small amount of growth. Okay, so what's going on? The economy will be where supply, if this is the total supply and demand, where the total, everything supplied intersects with everything demanded, even though you can't see it because it's too light. Where they intersect, that's what the economy is producing. That's the size of the economy, right? Now, as the Federal Reserve prints more money, imagine we had a giant helicopter filled with cash. We'll call it the Coptero cash. And it flew about the populace, sprinkling money on all the people. Now, what would the people do once they kill each other for the money? After that,
Spend it.
they spend, right? What is demand? Is demand just wanting stuff?
No.
It's purchasing power. We just created purchasing power. Now, it's fake. There's nothing underneath it. We'll talk about that in a second. But what are people going to do with all that money? They'll demand more. So you got a new intersection of supply and demand that's over here, right? And then the people who've been bought, the companies bought stuff from them, they can hire people. They can go buy stuff. Demand keeps coming over. But if we keep pouring money into the economy, we are going to keep shifting the demand curve over. But look what's happening. Hyperinflation. This was in Commanding Heights. It'll be in Commanding Heights. Do we have the Commanding Heights with Bolivia yet with 25,000% inflation? It's going to happen. If you have a dictatorship, you say, or socialism, right? Same thing. If you have socialism, you say, I pay all the workers, but I provide all the stuff. What do workers want? High wages. But what do consumers want? Low prices. That doesn't fit in the short term. Long term, make it more productive, it'll get there. So what does a socialist government do? Oh, we'll make up for the difference by just printing money. Right? We'll print money and give it to the workers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But then what happens? If you keep doing that, you're going to keep pushing the demand curve over, and it's like if you hit the gas, but you never shift gears. If you get the gas pedal to the floor, but you never shift gears, what's going to start happening to your engine? Starts to get over in the red, it's going to overheat. You're overheating your economy. You are outstripping your demand that you created artificially with fake money, fiat currency, is outstripping the capability of your industry and resources and workers. You've got every factory going 24/7, all the workers working double time, using up all the resources. You say, well, if people want more, why don't you just expand your factory? The problem is there's no money to borrow because other factories have already borrowed that. You with me? That's why it looks like this. And if you keep doing this, what's happening? You keep increasing demand. You're not getting any more supply. Your prices are going up. That's hyperinflation. You all with me? See what I mean by overheating the economy, outstripping what we can produce? And if you keep doing this, your factories are going to wear out, your workers are going to wear out, and you might even have your supply curve shifting to the left. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, that can't go on forever, so what are you going to have to do? When you've got this hyperinflation, we're going to hold chapter 13 about what's wrong with inflation, but one big problem we're going to have, what do we see happen when prices keep going up? What's going to happen to interest rates too? Interest rates going up. High, high, high. And what happens if interest rates are too high? What do people stop doing?
Investing. Buying.
Yeah, borrowing and investing. Why are American workers paid so well? Because they're so productive. Why are they so productive? Because they're the most highly capitalized. Henry Ford borrows money, but if you've got interest rates too high, he doesn't borrow the money to give to his workers. They never get the conveyor belt. They can't produce more cars. You with me? So with that, and when hyperinflation kicks in, people say, this hyperinflation is out of control. What does the government eventually have to do? Stop printing money. Once they stop printing money, now the prices are left high, but where did that demand come from?
The printed money.
From fiat currency, and it goes away. What just happened?
The
You hear that sound? What was it? The
Bubble.
bubble just popped. When somebody says, whoa, I can't buy that big house anymore, now, that house, now you know what happens. It doesn't get bought, the company has to lay somebody else downward spiral. You with me? So, here's the thing. Remember, if instead we could live in reality, all that demand was fake. That's how you create a bubble. Fake demand. And the demand goes away when the government stops creating magic money. You with me? It's just hot air. If instead this growth had been because people, instead of having fake demand, they had real purchasing power because they're producing more stuff, then it doesn't matter if the government is printing more money. I get my purchasing power because I'm producing so much stuff. Does that make sense? Where do your parents get the ability to buy? Because of the stuff they produce. You with me? Then you wouldn't have bubbles popping if you lived in the real world without the bubbles. Okay, do you understand the monetary theory of the business cycle? Does that make sense? Okay, money supply. And you can't just keep printing money because you lead to hyperinflation and everything's going to collapse. That's when the bubble pops. Now, so, is this the case? Well, the book gives an interesting paragraph here. It says, if you look at America's monetary policy history, you can see every panic, right, every recession, what do you have? You got expansive money supply, we hit a bubble, and then the money supply contracts, and it collapses. Over and over and over. They give all these examples. That's what they think happened with the Great Depression. You had real growth, but then we went beyond real growth by printing too much money, by expanding credit too much, create a bubble, freak out because of the bubble, slam on the brakes too much, contract the money supply too much, we can't borrow, bam. Go with me? Monetary policy. Okay, you got the monetary theory of the business cycle. That was good stuff, by the way. You just got some really good stuff. I just gave you a map for reality. You're now less ignorant than you were before, okay? Cool. By the way, back on ways of knowing where we are in the business cycle, right? And you got consumer confidence, I mentioned that. I like the BCI. Anybody heard of the BCI? The Barista Competency Indicator. I made that one up. I listened to, I don't know what I was doing, but I was listening to NPR, and they were talking about how this one guy noticed when baristas are really good, that's a bad sign for the economy. Because you get some really talented, educated people, and it's like, what are they doing being baristas? They could be doing a lot more, but there's just not the opportunities, so they're baristas. It could be that, or misapplication of our educational facilities. When you get that PhD in something that nobody wants to pay you for, right? That's artificial. And okay, let's move on. Unemployment. Well, I've already mentioned at the beginning of the chapter. The business cycle comes with two problems. The peak comes with what problem? What problems do we have at the peak? Inflation. That's going to be covered in chapter 13. Then the trough comes up with a different problem. What's that? Unemployment. Okay, so let's talk. Chapter 13 will be inflation. Second half of chapter 12 is unemployment. Now on page 190. And they mentioned what I've mentioned before, a lot of other problems accompany unemployment. That's why it's a big deal. Suicide rates, divorce, lots of other things. Interestingly, I think it's been shown that poverty, that crime does not follow, like stealing and stuff. A lot of people say poverty creates crime, but then look at, we have the Great Depression, and crime didn't go up with the Great Depression. Okay? I think you make a good argument. It's a cultural thing. What's a bigger predictor of crime is going to be the state of marriage in a society. Another point they make that's important, another problem with unemployment is we lose future productivity. Okay? the amount of wealth we have is based on how much we can produce, which is based on how productive people are. But what happens if you're unemployed for a while? You get rusty, and your production ability actually goes down. Yep, one more reason to avoid unemployment. Now on page 191, we're going to give one more example of where we're going to look closely at statistics. Watch how people try to distort reality with statistics. So you want to know, when someone quotes the unemployment rate, you want to know what they're getting at. You want to know where it comes from. So you can know what they're trying to prove. What do you call a politician who does not spend?
Unelected.
Unelected. So here's the deal. If my person is in office for my party, I want to try to make the unemployment rate look low. If it's the other guy in office, I want to try to make the unemployment look high. See how it works? Okay. And then magically, when my guy gets elected, if unemployment hadn't gotten better, I just look at different statistics. Okay. But I don't blame the politicians for that, right? I just blame us for paying attention to them. Really, I mean, we complain so much about politicians, and then we ask the government to do all this stuff. It's like, do you realize who you're giving power to when you say government should do something? Politicians. Okay, so now that we know this is an important statistic, let's look more closely at it. The unemployment rate. What is the unemployment rate? Is that everybody who doesn't have a job? No, what is it? Look on page 191, bold words, unemployment rate. Percentage of the labor force, which is not everybody, that is not employed but is looking for work. Okay, you gotta be looking for work and you gotta be in the labor force, but not have a job. So, to understand the unemployment rate, we got to know how we break society into parts. So, okay. So, first group we look at is people who were taken out of consideration. Okay, people under 16 or over 64 in the armed forces or institutionalized, schools, prisons. Notice how we throw you all in the same thing. Okay, you're institutionalized. Okay. So, why? What is this group? Why are they not in here? Because we expect this group not to contribute to the GDP. You with me? Now, being in the military is real work. It's hard, but you're not producing wealth. You with me? What about people over 64? Other than Miss Rhodes, we expect them to retire. Okay? And then if you're under 16, we expect you not to be producing. Okay? The next group, the majority of the population. That's what we focus on. Okay? That's everybody else. People between 16 and 64, not institutionalized, not the military. And we break that into two groups, the labor force and those not the labor force. Okay? So, let's look at the people not in the labor force. Why these people have chosen not to be. They've taken themselves out of it. I think this is a little silly. It goes back to, remember, do homemakers produce wealth? Yes. It's just not bought by anybody, so we don't get a statistic. So watch for that. Okay? Then we've got people who are in labor. This is people who are looking for work. And then we divide that, people who have jobs and people who don't. Does that make sense? You got to understand this breakdown to understand what we mean by the unemployment rate. And I think all countries are going to use the same statistic. What do we mean by discouraged workers? People, well, we say they're not looking for work, but because we lack the ability to do a Vulcan mind meld with everybody in the population, we can't ask everybody, do you really want a job? Because, well, you can't ask everybody, and some people would lie. So we come up with a statistic. We say, if you are without a job for 6 months, we consider you discouraged. You've given up. We say you don't want work. Y'all with me? We got to draw a line somewhere. You see, again, the problem with saying econ is a science. See, is that really the case? That everybody who doesn't have a job after 6 months doesn't? No. See, it's not measurable like that. But you got to have some statistics because then you can do math with it, and you feel like you know what you're doing. Okay, so what is the unemployment rate? It's actually a lot more limited than we would think. It's only, what is the unemployment rate? The number of unemployed people divided by the total in the labor force. Okay? So it's just unemployed divided by the labor force. So it's leaving out huge swaths of the population. Why is this so important? It could show us if the unemployment rate is going up, maybe we're slipping into recession. If this declines, maybe the economy's swinging up. Okay? Now with that in mind, we're going to look at some central flaws to the unemployment rate. Page 193. Oh, you with me? There you go. Page 193. First, many people work but are not counted as unemployed. I already mentioned this. Homemakers, by the way, who's got a tougher job? Stay-at-home mom or guy going to work?
Stay-at-home mom.
Stay-at-home mom is definitely harder. Definitely. So it's kind of silly to say that's not like work. Again, you know the only reason, this is the problem with having a fetish for statistics. Oh, I gotta have statistics, gotta have some numbers to put on it. That's not the real world. Just like that type of thinking is what led us to shoot cows and bury them and hope that would help the economy recover. Being misled by statistics. You remember that, the AAA? Run by a bunch of commies. By the way, it was heavily infiltrated by Marxists. I'm reading a book on that right now. All these Americans were duped by Marxists. Marxists who infiltrated America. Okay. But that type of thinking, worshiping statistics as if that's the real world, it can give you input about the real world, but it's not the real world itself. It can lead to some silly stuff. Hashtag brain trust. Okay, so number 2. Some people don't work and are not included in unemployment statistics. Okay, even though discouraged workers are not working, they're not counted as unemployed. This tends to give the casual observer a false impression of the state of the economy. Okay, look at this example on page 193, right-hand side. Okay. Let's say, so this is figure 12-7 for those of you who can't see it at home. For my vast viewing audience at home.
You got like 8 subscribers.
Like and subscribers. Let's say this is the state, January 1st. This, by the way, don't listen up. This happened recently. Some people say, oh, the unemployment rate went down. And it's like, actually, it's a bad thing. Why? Because if this is what is the unemployment rate? Here, if we got 10 people unemployed out of a total of 100 people in the labor force, what's the unemployment rate? 10%. Let's say 6 months later, those guys have not found a job. What's the unemployment rate?
0.
Why? Because we moved them
To discourage.
from unemployed to discouraged. They don't count. So now everybody's got a job who wants one. 0% unemployment. You with me? See how that's misleading? Because actually things are worse because they still can't find a job. By the way, that's why always be wary of countries who talk about their unemployment rate because they can finagle it, right? They can give somebody a job digging ditches and somebody else filling them in, okay? And say he's working. But remember, did World War II get us out of the Great Depression? No. Created a bunch of tanks, but were we better off?
No.
No. You just give people busy work. Yeah, well, I mean, we had, okay, so we beat the Nazis, that's better off. But if we didn't need that war, then it was a waste. Okay, so, do you see the flaw there? Do y'all get the flaw? Because those guys moved.